Hello, my friends. It is I, your beloved Dr. Jimmy. It's so nice to see all of you again. That's right. You can see me, but I can also see all of you, each and every one of you. I can see you with my mind. That's one of the advantages to being completely insane. But enough silliness. I hope you've been enjoying the recent additions that I've been posting to my Horror Nights history video series. Yes, I bet you're glad I started those up again. But it is not time now to speak of the history of Horror Nights, but rather it is that wonderful time to once again begin forecasting the future of Halloween Horror Nights. Yes, if you've been paying very special attention to your calendars, you know that this is now the month of April. Yes, the 1st of April. And that is the day when traditionally your beloved Dr. Jimmy reveals unto all of you secrets of Halloween Horror Nights yet to come. That's right! All secrets of Halloween Horror Nights 24 revealed. Oh, but some skeptical people out there, some of you might be thinking, oh, sure, yes, April 1st, April Fool's Day. This is just another silly joke. Or is it? After all, in my previous little videos I've made on April 1sts of years past, I have, of course, indulged myself in some silly April Fool's gaggery with some jokes about things that would never actually happen. And yet, if you recall, back in 2011, there was a house based on the works of Edgar Allan Poe, and there was a scare zone that year that was just a little bit less explicitly, still pretty much like my so-called orgy of the damned, 7 deadly sins and sinners and seductresses, and they just had a little more clothes on than I had said. They didn't have the balls to do the X-rated version I talked about, that's all. And then in 2012, remember that year? They did indeed have something that I said they were going to have. Oh yes, Penn and Teller, just like I said, yes. They had Penn and Teller that year, and in 2013, last year, An American Werewolf in London, exactly the house that I described. So clearly, something in each year is not completely a joke, is it? But what about this year? What about 2014? Will anything I say in these videos be true or not? If I was really evil, really and truly evil, and some of you really do realize that I am an evil bastard, don't you? If I really was truly sinister and evil, I might just say exactly what's going to happen this year in the video. Everything correct. That would fool everybody because you'd think it was just an April Fool's gag. I might do that sometime. I might be doing it right now. But I won't tell you for sure, will I? No. Or I could just make the whole thing up and it's all silly willy funs and games, April Fool's gags. Or perhaps, like in previous years, there may be one house or 2 or 3 or a few more, or maybe less, that do correctly exactly what they're supposed to be. See, you don't know how much of what I'm saying is true and how much is just frivolous silly-willy. You don't know. It's all up to you to figure it out. what is he saying is true and what is he saying that's not true, or any of it, or none of it, or all of it. Either way, April Fools will be on you. Why? I'm evil. I've never made any attempt to hide that, have I? Well, enough of that. Let's get on with it. What will Halloween Horror Nights 24 have in store for you this year? Well, first, let's say that after I've been debriefed by whoever it is who leaks this information to me, can't say who, don't want to get anyone fired, do I? After it was all revealed to me, I must first say that some things you've already heard, rumours floating about, are true. But some of what you've already heard is not true, including, amazingly enough, officially released information. Because you know, as we all know, that anything posted as early as January or February can be changed well before the time of the event. Indeed, even if what I'm saying is absolutely true, and this is what they're planning right now, that could change too, because we've seen it happen before so many times, haven't we? Oh yes, indeed. Even last year, American Horror Story couldn't happen and they had Evil Dead instead. And the year before that, all sorts of chupacabras had to go away for something, for the classic monsters house, and something else was dropped. I think it was American Werewolf was supposed to be 2 years ago, and that was dropped for Silent Hill or something like that. I think it was. Things change, you see. Things change, and so again, the best laid plans of arts and design after Gang of Clay, when some bean counter, some bureaucrat only concerned with the almighty buck, somewhere up the ladder of corporate greed at Comcast or Universal or someplace, decides that what they want to do, our beautiful, wonderful, creative friends at Art and Design are planning to do and intend to do, they decide to change that and make them do something else. And that has happened already this year. Yes, we've had a wonderful tweet from our dear friend Mike Aiello. A wonderful tweet from him earlier this year stating that they're working on an all-original house. Remember that tweet? All-original house. Totally original, not a sequel to anything. A complete brand new original concept for a house this year. And everyone got all excited. Oh, goody. And it is my sad duty to tell you now that even though Mike meant it and wasn't lying in any way, shape or form or trying to spread any sort of mis or disinformation back in January when he made the tweet, that it was already has been preempted by higher powers up the corporate ladder, that somebody up there decided that it would be the best economic interest, you see, because the event, most of the people who purchase those tickets for the event, they're not you and me, not the die-hard psychotic fans of the event who want to see original house concepts more than anything else and are sick and tired of so many of those intellectual property houses, as we call them. No, someone higher up has decided that the general public, the majority of people, over 99% of the people who actually go and pay money to see the event, those people they like what they know. They like those established horror properties that they recognize, and they don't have to think about some new original concept. This is something that they already know because they've seen the movie or they've watched a television program or played the video game or whatever it is, and thus that's what they should do. And so the word came down from on high that this year, to continue the sickening trend which has happened the past couple of years to an even further degree, that all the event, the entire bloody event of Halloween Horror Nights 24, all will be IPs, intellectual properties. There shall be no original houses at all. See, it frightened me. It made me gasp and choke. Yes, the entire event, all 8 houses, shall be intellectual properties. Some of you have already gone and are choking on your own fear and terror at this tragic circumstance. But do not be dismayed, my friends. There is a glimmering light at the end of the tunnel. Yes. Because thanks to the strength primarily of one of the best houses ever for Halloween Horror Nights, and certainly the best house last year, an American Werewolf in London, which was so successfully pulled off. They did such a tremendous job on that house, so lovingly and wondrously recreating, making you feel like you're in the movie, that wonderful film. And because it was such a passion project, you know, done with love for the movie, that especially from Mike Aiello himself and the other members of A&D, they really, really did a good job on that. Because of the strength of that house last year, the higher-ups have compromised to this point, that for the houses at least, they have allowed our friends at Arts and Design to themselves select which intellectual properties, which ones they want to use. In other words, they're not going to be forced to do specific movies or programs or video games that they're told they must do this one or that one, although they're not going to be told that they have to follow California and Hollywood and what they're doing over there. No, they can come up with whatever they want as long as it's all intellectual properties that will be recognized by the guests. And so this has allowed them, our own arts and design team here in Orlando, to select their own IPs, so long as they can get the rights to them, of course, and be a bit more creative, at least in that regard, even if not all original houses. And I think they've made some wonderful choices, and I'm actually looking forward to the event because of this. And I hope you will too. So let's get on with it. Well, they've done 2 houses that are based on motion pictures. But again, because they have the freedom, they're not going to do the obvious. So you won't see any Insidious this year, and you won't see any Paranormal Activity or anything silly like that. No, thank God. You're going to have houses based on popular cult films from the 1980s. Again, because of the strength of American Werewolf, they're going to follow that idea with other movies from that era that are particularly for persons like myself of a certain age. Films of the 80s have a particular nostalgic thrill, and even younger people may have grown up watching these, and so they love them too. And the first you may have already heard a bit about, because Aiello has hinted that he'd like to do this house, and now that he has gotten the grounds to do so, he has pursued it, and they got the rights. And so the first house is Killer Clowns from Outer Space. Yes, it's based on the classic 80s cult film Killer Clowns from Outer Space. And just like American Werewolf, it's going to be a wonderful, loving, and passionate recreation of the movie and the various set pieces and scenarios and the bizarre spacecraft of these extraterrestrial harlequins, and featuring all the grotesque makeup and to recreate the various horrific clowns in their various scenarios, with all of the strange accoutrements and paraphernalia, you know, the evil popcorn and the killer candy floss guns, you know, that shoot the what the Americans would call cotton candy, and all of those weird things, and the music of the tubes with a wonderful, you remember that music? Dun, 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 you know, Killer Clown from Outer Space. Music will be playing that wonderful theme song in the house, sort of really fully evoke and recreate the film just like we had seen many years ago. And I think you'll enjoy that tremendously. Oh, what fun. And this house is the source of a rumor you may have already heard about Jack the Clown coming back. People were thinking, is he going to be an icon or not? And there's been a rumor that he may be used in some way, but not as an icon. Well, indeed, what I have heard is that he may very well be in the house. I say may because I don't really know everything about everything this year. No, they've hinted at some of these things. They've told me outright, but they've also been a bit coy. So Jack may be in the house as a cameo appearance, but they haven't told me specifically if it's going to be a character doing Jack or if it's going to be another one of those sort of mannequin figurines like we saw back in Cabin in the Woods last year. It could be they reuse that again, or they might actually have a character in the house. I hope it is a character, because that would be more effective for fun. And so that's what you've been hearing about Jack coming back. He's not actually going to be back in the way that some of you have thought, as certainly not as the icon of the event. So that's the source of that rumor. All right, I think I'm about running out of time for this first part of this video. And I've only covered one house, oh dear. But don't fear, there are more videos to come in All Secrets of Halloween Horror Nights 24 Revealed. Stay tuned.